I really like how the practice structured, the spring ball schedule, just the overall organization of things has been a really, really good process for me to go through. I really enjoy the way Coach Avalos has got things structured here. Impressions from my group, once again, young group, lost a lot of really good football players from last year to graduation and otherwise. But I really like this young group. They've done a really good job of, the thing I've noticed about them is they'll do anything that's asked of them and they improve every single day. So really impressed with the way they work and just the progress they've made.
Spencer Danielson, what's impressed you actually being able to work under him now?
Yeah, it's been great. Kind of like I talked to the first time we met, everything I said then, as far as him being a great communicator, a great organizer, bringing a lot of energy to the practice, those things have all came true. He operates at a really good tempo. He does a great job with the guys. Just his personality with the group and the way that he interacts with the defensive coaches is really good. So I'm really enjoying working with him.
The last time we talked about how important it was for you kind of to find a leader within your group, having lost Scott Matlock last year. What headway have you made on that? Has anyone kind of stepped into that leadership role this early in the process?
Yeah, I think they're all kind of feeling it out a little bit. I see, on the field, off the field, Braxton and JJ are kind of quiet, but on the field, they get it going a little bit. Herb has done a nice job stepping up and really helping coach those younger guys. He's kind of the guy that's had the most game experience, so he's been helping me with those guys, just giving his tidbits and helping those guys operate in the system. And then the other guys are pretty new to the system, so I don't know if we have a pure leader yet in that group, but I think those guys are developing some real leadership skills.
Wouldn't mind a little, even if it's fluid and it's obviously very unofficial at this point, but some roster management in terms of like a working depth chart, so we can have an idea of what names, like maybe at the nose tackle position. Who are you working with?
Yeah, right now that depth chart, like you said, it's written in sand, and we've done a really good job. Myself and my GA, Zane Buskist, he's done a great job of making sure everybody gets the same amount of reps, and we want to see the quote-unquote twos with the ones and the ones with the twos, so that thing is moving up and down. Right now, you got Braxton Feely working at the nose and Michael Callahan working at the tackle in a group, and they're going with both ones and the twos. And then you got Sheldon Newton working at the nose and JJ Tallow working at defensive tackle in a group, but they're going with the ones and twos. And then, behind them right now, you got, some Kyler Williams and Spencer Gay working there, and Herb's working his way back into doing what he can do, and he's doing a really nice job doing everything he can handle, and we expect a lot out of him when he gets ready to roll.
You mentioned Sheldon Newton. He's a newcomer. What are your impressions of him so far?
Yeah, so far, he's big, he's strong, he's powerful, he can really run. Just getting him acclimated to a new system, a new culture, a new way of doing things. Once he gets his footwork and his technique down, I think he's got a chance to be a really good football player for us.
These are always hard questions for you guys to answer, but what do you think you're adding to the table, whether it's on the field, in the meeting room? What have you brought to the table so far?
I hope just, a little experience, maybe some answers to some things that happen, on defense, any certain call versus a certain formation or play, in the D-line play, just maybe a few different things that we've done in the past to try to help the run fits in the pass rush game, in the overall organization, just, bringing some experience in there and bouncing some new ideas, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not good, sometimes they're for us, sometimes they're not, but just another set of eyes and another set of ideas, I think, coming in.
Is there one thing that stands out that you've seen with spring ball that you've been a few places that you haven't seen other places and you're thinking, Boise State does this? Well, that's smart.
Yeah, like I talked about, just some of the ways we structure the week to week and some of the ways we structure practice, some of the things that Coach Avalos has done as a team at the beginning, the ball security stuff, some of the tackling stuff has been really, really good, and getting the whole team involved. And like I said, just the amount of situational work that he has scheduled for us and the structure that he puts it in, the way that he and the coordinators present it to the team, that stuff's been really, really good, and I'll probably, that's going to be stuck in the memory bank for probably a long time.
Where do you see Ahmed Hassan fitting in terms of playing time, position-wise, and what stands out about him?
Yeah, what stands out about him first and foremost is just effort. He plays really, really hard. He's got really good technique. He's strong, he's physical, and he's got a big-time motor. And definitely, I think that a guy like that, he is going to find his way onto the depth chart, whether it's on the edge, inside. He's going to play football for this team. And I don't know where yet. I don't know where a lot of these guys are going to play, but he will play some football for us this fall.
He could play all 4 or 3, or maybe.
Yeah, probably 3.
Okay.
Right? Probably end tackle nose.
Okay.
Not that he couldn't play the stud, but I think that's kind of where he's worked, for the most part.
Okay. What do you know about him? We're going to tell us a little story today about him and his Egypt experience and going last year. And I guess this year he's taken some teammates. What kind of casual conversations have you had with him about that?
We haven't had a ton. We've had a few just in some of the things that he had to learn when he came to the States. But it's been really cool to get to know him. He writes some stuff in his foreign language or his native language on our board. And now Max Steege is here too. So we've got a guy from Germany and a guy from Egypt on the team, really in that front 4, which is pretty cool. It's kind of a big melting pot there. We got guys from all walks of life, all parts of the country, some foreign countries. So that's the coolest thing for me is those guys all getting together, getting to experience everybody's individual cultures and kind of taking a little bit from everybody else.
Where does Max fit into this rotation of groups you're playing around with? Where does he fit in position-wise?
Yeah, he's a young guy. Obviously, he just got here, but he's playing really good football too. So I could, see him eventually making his way into the rotation. I don't know if, you can expect a freshman guy to jump in the starting rotation, but I could definitely see him getting some reps in the fall.
Is Kevon just strictly an edge guy?
Yep. Right now, he's strictly an edge guy.
Talking about Max coming from Europe, I mean, some of those guys are a little bit behind football-wise from the American players. How much teaching have you had to do with Max so far?
I think, and I agree with you, some of those guys are behind, but that young guy works and works and works and works at it. He's up in that coach's office in his meeting rooms more than anybody I see, and he just, every word that coach says, that Coach Frazier says, that anybody says, he's hanging on it, he's writing it down, and he's really making a conscious effort to get everything down. And I think that the attitude that he has will catch him up pretty fast.
And Hassan was internationally ranked in CrossFit, even at 250 pounds. He's super explosive. What have you seen out of him in that area?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's for a big guy, right? I don't know how much he weighs right now, 270, 280 pounds, whatever it is. For a big guy, like I said, the motor that he plays with, you can tell that he definitely has some of that CrossFit background where he can just go, and he can do some interesting things with his body. He can bend really well. He can get real slippery for a big guy. So that definitely makes sense that he was a CrossFit guy.
Did you ever spend any time abroad? If so, if not, or whatever, your thoughts on Hassanin taking some teammates over there and getting to see stuff that they've never seen before? It's got to be beneficial, huh?
Yeah, I got a chance to, when I was just done with high school, I spent some time in Europe, in France, England, Italy, spent some time in Ireland, some places like that. And I think anytime a young guy, especially guys that may or may not have been out of their state very much, to go immerse themselves in a new culture and just see the way that other people do it. And sometimes it's also, they get to go see how good they may have it here, So I think it's always good when you get to go somewhere abroad and just immerse yourself, especially if you're not staying at a resort, if you're actually getting to go with, Ahmed, and you're getting to go out into the real world. It's all not 5-star hotel. You're seeing how it really is out there. And I think that's really cool for the guys.
Looking back on your career, was coaching always in the cards for you, or when did you know you wanted to become a coach?
Yeah, I think so. My dad was a high school football coach for a long time, and I, wanted to be like him. I think when I got to college, you want to play in the NFL. I figured it out pretty quick that wasn't probably for me, right? And so I knew I was usually better at helping the other guys, and I could figure things out pretty well. At that point in time, I knew that I didn't want to go back to high school. I wanted to coach college football. So that became my path. I think probably when I got into college is probably second, third, fourth year in college is where I knew that's what I want to do.
And who were some mentors in your coaching career? Some guys that really impacted you?
I've been so fortunate to be around just a ton of good guys. It's just head coaches. I played for Kirk Ferentz. Got to be around. Mark Farley at UNI has been a big time tenured successful coach. Chip Kelly, Mark Helfrich, Scott Frost, and then I got to be with some defensive guys. When I was at UNI, offensive guys, Willie Solomon was unbelievable to me. Mario Verduzco, Rick Nelson, those guys. And then as I got to Oregon, it was Nick Aliotti and Jerry Azzinaro and Don Pelham and John Neal. So, and then when I got to the NFL, I got to be around some of those guys. And so I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of great people and a lot of great coaches.
Is there one that's made more of an impact than anybody else? One that really, really impacted your career?
I don't know. I mean, I think that they all you know, I think every time you go somewhere, it's like, this guy does this really well. I don't necessarily like that. And so you take everything that's good and you kind of leave some of the things you don't like behind. But every single one of those guys has been a positive influence on me.
So who are the guys you don't like?
I'll plead the
You're
fifth on that one.
Go ahead.
You mentioned your dad was a high school coach. A lot of times when dads or coaches, they try and steer their kids away from the profession. Did your dad do that at all, or what lessons did you learn from him?
No, it was kind of the opposite. I mean, he's obviously he was very hard on me when I was young, and you know, when you're a quote unquote good player, then you take the heat a little bit. So I learned some definite lessons there. But when I was done with college, I was hurt, and so the GA window closed because I couldn't get out in the spring. I had to rehab, and the job came up at Ellsworth Community College. Signed my first contract for $1,800. It was a big deal. But I told my dad, I was like, hey, $1,800. I'm like, what do you think? Like, can I do this? And he said, you know what? I had that opportunity, and I regret it every day of my life. I stayed, and you know, he worked in a steel mill, and he was the high school coach, and then he became a high school teacher. But every day he said, I regretted that. He said, just go do it, and if it don't work out, you're young, you can do whatever you want. But he definitely encouraged me to chase my dreams, and he helped me along the way. So it was awesome.
Is he still around?
He is not. No, he unfortunately he passed in a single car accident, had a heart attack, and that was Thursday. We played Minnesota 2 years ago. So,
And what high school? Where did you play high school football? Where'd you grow up?
so I grew up around the Waterloo, Iowa area. My dad became the head coach at a small school called Allison Bristow. It's not even there anymore. It's now called North Butler High School. But he was the head coach while it was Allison Bristow High School. And he kind of transitioned to the defensive coordinator when they hired a young guy when they combined schools.
Okay. How have you been acclimated to Boise? What have you, maybe some detail? What have you been doing? I mean, I know your time is limited right now, and remind me. I think we talked about this before with family.
Yeah, yep. So I got 3 children and my wife, 8, 6, and 3.
Are they here yet?
Nope, they're finishing school. They're finishing school and they'll move out. Was that Memorial Day weekend at the end of May right there?
Yep.
Yep. So they're done like the 25th of May.
Okay.
You know, just so far, like I told you guys last time, I got a little rental house, which is unbelievable. It's a fully furnished house. It's a great little spot by Timberline High School. So really, the Boise details I got. I've been to a lot of basketball games, and I try to, on the weekend, if we got a day off, I try to go pick a different place and go eat somewhere. So I'm sampling all the local fare, which is, you know, the downtown is awesome. That 8th Street area is unbelievable. So many restaurants, I won't even get through them all, but I'm trying to get it scouted out. My wife's coming for the spring game, so trying to get her to some good spots.
And they're in Nebraska.
Yep, they're in Lincoln, yep.
Any favorite restaurants so far?
Oh man, I mean, I think that there's a lot of them that are, I went there for the right reason. You know, like you go to a couple of these places for burgers, and I'm like, oh, that's a great burger. You know, and then you go to a couple other places, and you know, you get the hot chicken or the barbecue or the steak or the, you know. So I haven't ran across any restaurant that I'm like, oh, I won't go back there, because every place that people have recommended me has been really good.
What was your dad's name?
Gene.
Gene.
Yep.
Gene.
Gene, yep.